passion goes on in games like that, passion in college football, is Alabama, the state of Alabama, the most passionate place for college football fans. When you look at where they have been in their history, who their coaches have been, what kind of games they have won, how many championships they are, and the fact that they always think they're going to win against everybody. The state of Alabama, are the Alabama fans collectively the most passionate fans in college football?
Here's the way I'll tell you why they're the most passionate fans. Paul Feinbaum started getting about $10 million a year. His show started, I think, in Birmingham. He literally would just have Auburn and Alabama fans call in and scream at each other all day long. Now, he was great with interviews when it came to coaches. He had good connections there. But the crux of his show was letting Maud and Parma and Al in Dadeville and all these people, these characters on his show calling in. Maybe that's why Andy wants us to take calls. Maybe we'll find somebody in Alpharetta or somebody in College Park that turns into that. But that was the crux of his show. They would be in April screaming about Alabama and Auburn, like screaming at each other. Do you know about Nick Saban? I think that's how they sounded.
Mm-hmm. So we got a clean cut of that. You always have the Southern fan right down to a T.
I got a lot of them. There's certain ones I just can't do.
A guy who heard guys like that in the stands, Cam Newton, on his 4th and 1 podcast, said without a doubt, and there is reasoning behind it, without a doubt, Alabama has the most passionate fans in all of college football.
The 4 most important people in the state of Alabama. It's the head coach of Auburn. It's the head coach of Alabama. It's the starting quarterback for Auburn, and it's the starting quarterback for the University of Alabama. The state of Alabama does not have no professional sports. So when you're talking about Alabama football and Auburn football, anybody from Alabama, where you from Dothan, Birmingham, Mobile, Montgomery, Bessemer, you ask this one question on Thanksgiving, what colors you wearing? And they already know. Call them crazy. I call them rambunctious, beautiful people.
The entire state has 2 teams that they pour a lot of passion into. Most people pouring their passion into the University of Alabama. But he said Gene Chizik told him when he became quarterback at Auburn, the 4 most important people in the state. Right. Quarterback at Auburn, quarterback at Alabama, head coach at Auburn, head coach at Alabama.
Look, Nick Saban was, I think, the highest paid state employee in the state of Alabama for as long as he was there.
Well, most coaches are. Most coaches. Like Kirby's the highest paid employee in the state. Okay. So that's typically the way it goes.
But you think about guys save and have lost jobs there.
Yeah.
And I started to think about the most just passionate fan bases in general in college football. I think Bama's number 1. I think Ohio State's 2. I'm not sure. Does Texas come in
Michigan,
at number 3?
Texas, Notre Dame.
No knock on Notre Dame.
Sounds like something's coming.
No, I just don't think they're up there with those programs.
Well, and not to be offensive.
Not when it comes to Penn State's better, more passionate that they are. Notre Dame to me is 20 years ago may have had a bigger national draw. They're getting back to it, obviously, with Marcus Freeman. I just don't know that they have as national a draw as they once did.
Well, not to be offensive, but Notre Dame is still near a major city.
Right.
When football season concludes, what are you doing in Alabama?
Right.
There are no sports teams to Cam's point. There's no baseball. There's no pro football. There's no hockey. There's no NBA. You have to wait your entire year for September to show up, and hopefully your team goes all the way through.
And and this, again, thinking about Notre Dame in that scenario, how many times do you just see random people walking around with Notre Dame shirts on? You see, and part of it, we live in the South. I'll see Alabama shirts everywhere I go. I see Texas shirts. I see Ohio State maniacs walking around here. I would say there's probably, 8 to 10 teams a little bit more passionate than Notre Dame. And again, not a knock on Notre Dame. It's just these people down here are crazy.
Michigan.
Look at Road Dogg. Road Dogg's insane.
Yeah, that's all he wears. All he wears is Georgia stuff everywhere.
He almost grabbed the mic, but he got
including
scared.
ACC Media Days.
We haven't come to a conclusion on that. We brought that up yesterday.
I cannot live like this.
Yeah, you are not an individual. You are part of a unit.
Right.
You move as a unit, and you will not embarrass this show. We will do it ourselves. You will not embarrass purposefully this show because you have your own personal agendas.
Now let me ask this: who's going to be embarrassed, him or y'all? And I'm saying y'all,
not me.
Meaning you two.
Us,
not
of
me.
Course. You have to have a certain type of personality and understanding about the situation to feel embarrassed about something, and he would just embarrass us, which he's fine doing, which is says a lot about his character.
Of course.
We wouldn't go into Kirby Smart's office and do an interview with him with Georgia Tech.
I don't know how many locker rooms he's been in or teams he's played for. That's my biggest issue with Road Dog, because if you understood what the role was and the game plan, you would follow along for your teammates and do it the right way.
But it's me holding a grudge because I'm weak. So when y'all get dressed in the morning, if anything y'all are wearing embarrasses me, and I let you know, you will go back up to your rooms and change.
Yes.
You have no
good to know. Good to know.
In running a program with 100 men trying to win football games. So you comparing yourself to a head football coach, sir, shows you where your delusion is.
That pink shirt embarrasses me, home team. Can you go change in the next commercial break?
Pink is one of the colors that they use for the breast cancer walk that we're going to be a part of later this year. So sorry you feel that way.
It embarrasses me. Can you go change? You wearing pink?
Other people feel differently. So we're going to talk about this.
Ridiculous.
I'll get a pink Georgia shirt then, and I'll say, well, it's for breast cancer.
I would rather you wear that.
I don't know what we're yelling about.
Than sit across from Brent Key with a Georgia shirt on.
Hence why I say that it's more passionate down here to bring the conversation full circle.
No, there's a difference between passion and like this ridiculous sense of there's nobody else except what I believe in.
You always having
Georgia.
to prove you really like your team isn't really passion all the time. That's my opinion.
Part of Cam's thing was, even though up north, and I think assuming he's talking about like
Ohio State, Michigan,
even though they may have larger stadiums that they fill constantly, the passion is greater down here. And we have those large stadiums too. I mean, look at Tennessee. Which was brought up in the group chat yesterday about how loud it is, and that's based on over 100,000 people.
How do we look at Tennessee?
The lunatic fringe, though, the lunatic fringe from Ohio State, the passion that they have for their team.
That's a lot. There's more than just
nuts.
a fringe up there. I can tell you that much.
I guess I'm trying to compare like the wackadoos that I've met.
Holloway,
Lear, Holloway, Kofar. Right?
That's Alabama.
I know, but I'm comparing the fan bases and people I've met. Like I guess Florida's there a little bit. Miami, front and center, for God's sakes.
What the hell did I do? My buddy Mondo, by the way, is tapping the app.
Yeah, you just think about. Go ahead, tell us where that's from.
The 680 Fan app, all driven to you by Beaver Toyota.
Wow.
Check out BeaverToyotaofcoming.com to show you what wow really means.
There's and I'm not trying to be mean. There's a passion behind a handful of those teams: Miami, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, where I've run into people who've been like, that guy is out of his freaking mind.
And again, that goes back to the Notre Dame. You've probably never run into a Notre Dame person like that.
So I will say this. I think there's more common sense and...
oh, Lord. Here now we're going to common sense.
I think now
you're attacking me.
No, there's
gravitas. They haven't won a national title since 88.
What am I trying to say? There's a level of like... Sanity, that's good. There's a level of sanity among those people in their fandom.
What are you huffing about?
Well,
because you could be. So you're saying I'm insane?
I've seen the Auburn man who's a well-established businessman or attorney. He's going to all the games.
Yeah, they're also the same guys that dress like Pat Dye at a game. They got on a suit and tie like idiots.
He's not screaming and hollering, and he's just as passionate as somebody who's got their shirt off, lined up with other people in the front row with Auburn on their chest.
Right. Right.
Road Dog, I feel like they're judging you and I right now.
No, I'm not trying to be mean. There's just levels of the fandom that they have where
I wonder why people don't like Notre Dame and their fans, because they look down upon the rest of us from their perch and say they're better than us.
So is 6 University of Miami tattoos maybe showing that I'm a maniac?
You and Pope Leo can go.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So there was nobody at Villanova that would like shave a V in their chest hair or face paint or anything like that?
Not really. But to your credit, you guys have Georgia and Miami and Ohio State and Michigan have built organizations and franchises to where they could have that fandom because they've been so good for so long and been a part of the college football landscape. So
how about a place like Nebraska? We talked about Nebraska yesterday. Now, part of it, they're in a place where there's not, again, no pro sports, not a lot to do. They sell out that stadium every year, and my team's been average, 7-5, 8-4, every now and then good. Nebraska's had a lot of 3-win seasons. Yeah. Like to the point where you kind of laugh at Nebraska. Nobody misses a game there. Like, that place is sold out every single game. So there's a level of maniacal up there.
And there's probably a level of jealousy among people that haven't tasted the success that you guys have had in your respective sports or whatever it is in schools. So that plays a factor too. I think
they're showing up. There's how what you wear, how much gear you have, what you see in groups, and then there's mouth. Who's talking, who's chirping. That kind of goes into how you are ranked as a passionate fan.
LSU and Justin Burney, the infiltrator, and his passion for that school and the people that come through there and do that. So
I've learned more about LSU working with Justin Burney than in any time of my life.
Tennessee, they're in a good place right now with Josh Heupel, but they've been last 15 years, middle of the road, below middle of the road, but they show up, they're passionate, they have on their overalls, they get ready to woo for Rocky Top. So, no matter what the record is, a Tennessee man or woman, I would say they are very passionate in support of their fans.
And I'll keep it real. It's very easy over the last 2 decades to be an Ohio State fan. It's very easy to be a passionate Alabama fan. For the last, since Kirby's been there, it's been really easy to be a passionate Georgia fan. I think you got to be a maniac when you're cheering for teams and delusional, if you want to call whatever, when you Florida State fans right now. I've seen people on there saying, we're back this year, we're fine, 2-10's a blip. Okay, Thomas Castellanos, keep thinking that. But that to me is where you should, like, an Auburn fan to me is tougher to be than an Alabama fan.
How about South Carolina? That's another passionate fan base over there in Columbia. They sell that stadium out year after year, and every year they go in with these high expectations, no matter what happened the year before, and they never live up to them. But it's a passion they have. That's all they have in South Carolina.
To that point, the Georgia fans didn't just show up. They've been there waiting for this success to happen and starving under Mark Richt and almost there multiple times. And then Kirby came and turned the whole thing for him. With all those fans, that passion, I think, comes from almost being there for so long and then finally doing it. And now they exploded, and now we got to deal with guys like this.
Well, and they've become louder over the past 7-8 years.
Yes, 100%.
And they've deserved it. When you win back-to-back titles.
Miami got loud in the 90s and early 2000 and everything else. That's when you got real loud, and you didn't forgot about having done jack for 25 years. So let's figure this one out.
It is kind of cowboyish.
Nebraska's probably the same way.
We haven't been that bad.
It's the locker room.
I tell anybody that ain't caught up, catch up.
On the Fan 680 93.7 FM.